knowing the exam format is obviously the first thing that you should focus on. And the GMAT has essentially four sections: AWA, integrated reasoning, quantitative reasoning, and verbal reasoning. These are the four sections. This is similar to the VARC section of what we do in the CAT, and the quantitative reasoning is basically the QA section where you have to do uh, around 18 to 20 chapters, which are very similar to what the portion is for any other aptitude exam of this nature. So if you look at the QA section of the CAT, the chapters of GMAT are the chapters to prepare for GMAT are actually equal. It's the same chapters. There's actually no difference in the chapters you prepare when you're preparing for the GMAT exam. So going further in our discussion from the exam, this thing, when you talk about the pattern of the exam, in what order you are allowed to take the exam, you're allowed three different orders in which you can take the exam, and you can write the GMAT a total of 8 times at max, and a maximum of 5 times in a year. So in one rolling year, you will be allowed to take the GMAT in 5 times max. But in a lifetime, you can do it 8 times max. Although people normally hit their optimal scores in the second or third attempt at max, but you still have the backup of taking it more number of times. But of course, the underlying skill and ability has to change in case your score is stuck at times. The problem that happens for a lot of people is that when they start taking their mocks, their scores hit a plateau, and then no matter what they try to do, they try to keep taking more mocks, the score does not go up. So please understand, like any other exam, the GMAT exam is a mix of ability and performance. There are two aspects to getting the score you want. So you need to build your ability to perform. You need to build your skill in terms of your skill to solve questions, to solve questions specifically on, of course, the score is based on quantitative and verbal only. Integrated reasoning and AWA they have band scores. So we'll talk about that when I talk about those sections. So that's 750. When you talk about 750 on GMAT, it's essentially a score that's built on quantitative and verbal only these two sections. We have three orders. One is analytical writing assessment first, followed by integrated reasoning, then quantitative and verbal. You can do verbal and quantitative, or quantitative and verbal in opposite order here, followed by IR and analytical reasoning. So you got three different orders in which you can take it. So broadly, you can get rid of the AWA, then go to integrated reasoning, and then do your Q and verbal. That's one pattern. Or you can go with verbal, quantitative, IR and AWA, or quantitative, verbal, IR and AWA. So is there a best pattern for it? I personally feel it's not something that matters, because of the fact that ultimately when you're doing quantitative, for those 62 minutes that you'll be doing quantitative section, you'll be stuck on your quantitative skills, and it does not matter whether you're doing it at the start of the paper or you're doing it in the second section or the third section. Ultimately, those 31 questions, 62 minutes, you'll have to deal with it, right? So what are the basic structures? AWA is marked on a 0 to 6 marking point scale with 0.5 point increments. So you can start with 0.5, 1, 1.5, and your AWA marking can go all the way to 6. 6 is the perfect argumentation, the perfect structure. And basically what they do in the analysis of an argument, they give you an argument of around 100 to 50 words. It's a passage, and that argument has some, there's a in the argument there'll be some kind of a recommendation or a suggestion about a certain situation. that is described, and that recommendation is arrived on the basis of a few observations or a few data or a few things that they have seen, and then you have to basically plug holes. Essentially, normally what happens most GMAT AWA arguments is that this argument here has a lot of holes. It has a lot of holes in the argument. So, given the fact that that you are recommending the writer of the argument or the author of the argument is recommending something, he's recommending it on the basis of a few pieces of data, basis of a few observations, basis of a few events, etc. So you have to be able to understand that why this argument falls flat, and I mean, your writing in the argument essentially will be a critical analysis of how these supporting thoughts does not necessarily lead to this. I mean, it's like, for example, it's like saying, to give you an analogy, it is like saying that the Indian economy was the best economy in the world last year. The Indian economy was the best economy in the world last year. And based on, so this is making a recommendation, or it's making a suggestion, or it is making a conclusion. And then it is building this conclusion on the basis that the growth rate of the Indian economy was 8% or 7.5%, whatever it was. It's making that's an argument that hence I'm saying this. So you have to criticize this. You have to talk about why this conclusion falls flat. If you look at this from a bird's eye perspective. So if you can bring out points like there are other economies also that grew by 9%, 10%, and so on. Then on the basis of one single data, can you say this? And then the second thing is, just because the economy grew at 8%, can you call it the best economy? So how do you define the best economy? These are missing pieces of this argument. So you have to be able to see the missing pieces and write a cogent paragraph criticizing the recommendation or the suggestion given by the author on the basis of, and you have to basically blow out his base for the argument. So that's what typical AWA writing means, and it's pretty easy. I mean, if you have built up decent writing skills, of course, the key factors for getting a 5 or a 5.5 on your AWA, the key factors are the ability to see through the holes in the argument. That's number one. So you first have to be able to see through the holes in the argument. And the second thing that you need to do, if you are looking at improving your AWA, is cogent writing. You need to be very, very clear in your writing. Cogent and clarity of writing, clarity of thought displayed in your writing. So how many paragraphs do you want to write? How many paragraphs do you want to write in your analysis? And every paragraph, is it broken at the right point with a complete punch inside every paragraph? So the author has to get a very the reader has to get a very clear feel of your point of view when you write this. So you have to practice both. First is you have to practice, and you have to be taught how to see through the holes in the argument. And the second thing is you'll need to be taught how to write. What is the quality? I mean, how do you improve the quality of your writing? So for those of you who are still evaluating an institute for your preparing for the GMAT, we just wanted to announce that at Mindworkzz we have started GMAT classes, and we are starting our first group very soon. So you'll be contacted for that. And our course will include analysis of the AWA, both your writing styles as well as classes on how to write better. So both of them will be. This is normally not there in most GMAT programs. And since I'm personally doing the GMAT course at Mindworkzz, me and Meenakshi ma'am are personally doing the GMAT course at Mindworkzz. So this would be some of the things that you'll get there, and not just this. You apart from all this thing, you also have, I mean, apart from 72 hours of live classes, you also have pre-recorded sessions which will give you on every chapter, every topic, so that you can actually understand what the GMAT is all about.